My devout girlfriend said she got drunk and had fun with four men at a friend's party, but the truth I discovered was far darker. My girlfriend Lisa and I have been together for 4 years. We met in college, where she was still coming into her own. Growing up in a strict religious family meant that, even as an adult, she felt pressured to uphold certain values, particularly around relationships and purity. Lisa was always close to her parents, and while I don't really subscribe to the same beliefs, I respected her choices. That's why we decided to wait on certain things, especially because it was so important to her. Honestly, I thought she was the one. I'd been saving for a ring, looking forward to proposing now that she'd graduated. It felt like our lives were lining up perfectly until last weekend happened. Lisa has always had this best friend from high school, a guy named Nate. He was her confidant and, at least to her family, safe because he claimed to be gay. When she found out he was going to our college too, she was thrilled. I tried not to be the stereotypical boyfriend worrying about a male best friend, but Nate always felt like a loose end. Then, 2 years ago, he came out as bisexual. That change stirred up all my uncertainties. I'd always sensed some tension when he was around her, but when I tried to voice it, Lisa thought I was being jealous or controlling. It wasn't a great situation. Our biggest relationship argument happened over this issue, and ultimately we agreed she'd only hang out with him if his boyfriend or other friends were around, and I was included. I thought it was a fair compromise, and it kept the peace between us. Over the next year, Nate ended up transferring to another college, but Lisa stayed close to him online. She played video games with him and his friends over Discord, and while I wasn't thrilled, I let it go. She assured me there was nothing going on. Then last week, she told me about his birthday party, which was about 2 hours away. I had to travel for a work trip and couldn't go with her, but she was really excited about reconnecting with him and some friends from the Discord server. I had a gut feeling, but I didn't want to be controlling. I told her she could go even though I couldn't be there with her. She texted me while driving to the party when she arrived, and even throughout the night. She told me she'd leave by 9 or 10 to be home at a decent hour, but when her messages suddenly stopped, I started to worry. I checked her location app later that night to make sure she got home, and she did, around 2 a.m. It wasn't like her to stay out that late, but I figured she got caught up with her friends. The next morning, I called her, but she didn't answer. She texted back saying she was hungover and feeling sick. Lisa doesn't drink, so that was strange, but I let it go, figuring she'd just gotten carried away at the party. When I got back from my trip, I found her curled up in my bed with the curtains drawn, looking defeated. She had a key to my place, but it wasn't normal for her to just show up like this without telling me. The entire week, she hardly moved from that spot. She called in sick to work, didn't want to go back to her apartment, and barely ate. I started to worry there was something serious she wasn't telling me, but every time I tried to talk to her about it, she just closed up. Then, last night, she came out to the living room, sobbing. She told me she'd done something terrible and wanted to tell me, but didn't know how. I'd listened in disbelief as she explained how she'd ended up accidentally drunk, and how Nate insisted on driving her home. Apparently, 3 other guys from their Discord server followed in a second car, and together they helped her up to her apartment. Then she dropped a bomb. She'd had sex with them, all 4 men, she said, including Nate. She broke down, saying she didn't remember most of it, but she knew enough to realize it had happened. She confessed she'd been trying to find a way to tell me because she couldn't keep it a secret, but didn't want to lose me either. I was devastated, unable to understand how she'd given up something we'd both been waiting for. It felt like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. She begged me not to leave her, crying and pleading, saying she didn't want to hurt me and that it was all a mistake. I could hardly process it, though. I told her I needed space to think and went to bed, though I couldn't sleep all night. She went back into my room, where I could hear her crying, and it tore me apart. Update. After seeing the comments on my last post, a lot of people suggested something far darker might have happened to Lisa. I couldn't shake the idea that there might be more to this story than she was saying, so I decided to go home early and check on her. When I got there, she was still in bed, looking worse than ever. I sat next to her, hugged her, and asked if she wanted to talk. When I gently asked if she really wanted what happened that night, her reaction was instant. She clung to me, crying harder than ever, and finally admitted that no, she hadn't wanted any of it. She started to open up about how the night had actually gone. Lisa explained how the party was small, just a group of close friends from Discord and some of Nate's other friends. She'd felt a bit out of place since most of them had known each other online for a long time, and she was nervous but trusted Nate to look out for her. She said they spent the early part of the evening gaming and talking, and things were normal. Then, about midway through, someone handed out shots, and Nate encouraged her to take one for his birthday. Lisa was hesitant but felt pressured, especially with everyone around her cheering her on. She had her first shot and felt okay, but soon more drinks came her way. Lisa doesn't remember a lot after that, just that she felt off and like she wasn't fully there. Nate had reassured her it would be fine and that he'd take her home if she needed it, so she trusted him. But as she got increasingly intoxicated, she started feeling unwell and disoriented. She remembers Nate saying he would drive her home, with one of the Discord friends following behind in a separate car. She recalls snippets of being in her apartment with the group, them helping her inside, and then things start getting hazy. Lisa said she doesn't remember consenting to anything, only that she felt sick and out of control. She broke down telling me this, saying she had been trying to come to terms with it herself but felt trapped in shame. Hearing her story, my anger shifted. I realized she hadn't told me everything at first because she was struggling with it herself. She didn't want what happened, and it felt like she had been violated in one of the worst ways. I asked if she wanted to report it, but she shook her head, terrified at the idea of reliving it. She was in physical pain too, which made it all the more real. I convinced her to see a doctor, even though she was scared, and assured her I'd be by her side. We scheduled an appointment for Monday, hoping to get her checked for any health concerns and discuss options for counseling. Since then, it's been a slow process of piecing things back together. Lisa has been hesitant to leave my place, and I've been staying home from work to support her. The doctor's appointment on Monday confirmed some physical trauma, which only deepened the realization of what happened that night. We're getting STI and pregnancy tests done, but more than anything, I'm committed to helping her heal emotionally. It's been a lot of long conversations, holding each other, and silent moments where words just don't seem to cover it. Lisa feels like she's losing her mind and keeps apologizing, even though I remind her this wasn't her fault. I've opened up the windows in the bedroom so she can get some sunlight, and I've tried to bring small comforts to help her feel safe. This entire experience has shifted my perspective. Initially, I thought about leaving Lisa, hurt and angry over the betrayal I thought she'd committed. But now I see how she was a victim in this, and I know she needs support. It's hard seeing her like this, broken, ashamed, and scared, but I'm determined to stand by her side as she heals, no matter how long it takes. Thank you to everyone who commented and helped me see beyond my own feelings. I don't know what the future holds for us, but I'm trying to give Lisa the space and love she needs to start feeling whole again. We're working through this together, one day at a time. Commentary time. This story is a gut-wrenching exploration of betrayal, trauma, and the complicated path to healing. OP's relationship with Lisa was grounded in shared values and a deep connection that made them feel they were on a path to a lifelong commitment. The initial story was devastating enough, with OP grappling with an uncharacteristic confession from Lisa that left him hurt, confused, and questioning everything they'd built together. But as details unfolded, we saw the truth was far more painful and traumatic than it initially seemed, shifting OP's anger to empathy and understanding. Nate's betrayal adds another layer to this tragic story. The supposed best friend crossed boundaries in the worst possible way, taking advantage of Lisa's trust and vulnerability in ways she hadn't even fully understood herself. For OP, the transition from anger and betrayal to understanding and support shows immense emotional maturity, highlighting his deep commitment to Lisa beyond just their romantic relationship. It's heartening to see him embrace his role as a support system for her, recognizing the layers of manipulation and coercion she endured that night. This story is a reminder of the importance of trusting your instincts, but also of keeping communication channels open. OP's initial gut feeling about Nate was valid, yet his respect for Lisa's autonomy kept him from expressing his discomfort. It's a difficult line to walk, balancing trust with self-protection, but this story shows that trusting your instincts while communicating openly with your partner is crucial in avoiding situations where emotions run unchecked. Have you ever faced a situation where you discovered that betrayal ran far deeper than you initially thought? How did you handle it? Share your thoughts and support for OP and Lisa in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to hear more stories that explore the complexities of love, trust, and healing. Let's come together to uplift each other in times of crisis.